Everywhere else in medicine, stimulant medications speed things up. In ADHD, they do the opposite. They quiet the noise, sharpen focus, and restore balance. It's one of brain science's most interesting paradoxes. And when you understand it, you'll see the ADHD brain in an entirely new way. Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will break down this fascinating paradox in brain science, how stimulant medications calm the ADHD brain. Let's get started with what ADHD really is. ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. People with ADHD have differences in how their brain develops and works. It is one of the most common mental disorders affecting children and adults. Globally, an estimated 5 to 8% of children and 2 to 3% of adults have ADHD. Symptoms of ADHD involve difficulty paying attention, having high energy levels, and inability to control impulses. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder isn't just about being fidgety, forgetful, or bouncing off the walls. It's a neurological condition rooted in how the brain regulates attention, motivation, and impulse control. So the big question is, how do medications which normally stimulate the brain help to calm the ADHD brain? To understand this, let me introduce you to dopamine and norepinephrine. These are neurotransmitters, which in simple terms are chemical messengers produced by the body that help the brain stay focused, organized, and emotionally balanced. Research shows that in the ADHD brain, these chemicals are often in short supply in certain parts of the brain, especially in areas like the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive functions, things like planning, prioritizing, resisting distractions, focusing on a task, and managing time. The short supply of dopamine and norepinephrine means that these parts of the brain do not function optimally. In other words, they are understimulated. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because the brain is understimulated in these key areas, it starts looking for stimulation elsewhere. That's why people with ADHD often seem restless, impulsive, or constantly distracted. It's not that they're overloaded. It is simply that their brain is trying to find enough stimulation to function properly. Imagine the brain as a large city at rush hour. Dopamine and norepinephrine are the traffic lights and signals that keep everything coordinated. In an ADHD brain, many of those lights are dim or mistimed. As you can imagine, chaos will be the order of the day. This is where stimulants come in. According to current guidelines, psychostimulants, mainly amphetamines and methylphenidate, are first-line drug treatments for the management of ADHD. Their job is surprisingly straightforward. They increase the availability of dopamine and norepinephrine in those parts of the brain tasked with executive functioning. In simple terms, they activate the traffic lights and make them work properly. Methylphenidate works mainly by blocking the reuptake of these neurotransmitters, keeping them more available for a longer duration, while amphetamines, on the other hand, go a step further by stimulating the release of these chemical messengers. So here is the interesting paradox. While stimulants might make a person without ADHD feel jittery, restless, and anxious, they often make someone with ADHD feel calm, centered, and in control. This knowledge is backed by decades of research and brain imaging studies. Functional MRI scans show that stimulant medications help normalize activity in the prefrontal cortex and other attention-related networks. And this effect isn't just visible in brain scans, it is felt by affected individuals. For many people, the first dose of a stimulant feels like flipping a switch. Suddenly, they can finish a task, follow a conversation, or sit still without effort. This is what happens when the brain finally gets the support it needs to function the way it was meant to. At this point, it is important to note three very important things. 1. Stimulant medications do not cure ADHD. Rather, they help the brain work more efficiently. They support the brain's natural systems, helping it do what it's already trying to do, just with better tools. 2. Stimulants don't work for everyone. Several studies suggest that stimulants only work for about 70 to 75% of people with ADHD. Some people respond better to non-stimulant medications, which I will discuss in more detail in my other video. Others benefit most from behavioral therapy, coaching, or lifestyle modifications. 3. Stimulants can have side effects, such as appetite suppression, sleep disruption, or mood swings. That is why treatment should always be personalized and monitored by a healthcare professional. When used appropriately, however, they can help people build routines, manage emotions, and stay present in their relationships. They can help a student finish homework without tears, help a parent stay calm during chaos, and help a professional meet deadlines without burning out. These are not small wins, they're life-changing shifts. So here's my final takeaway. The ADHD brain isn't broken, it's brilliant. It just needs the right kind of support. And for some individuals, stimulants provide that. Indeed, it is a paradox that sometimes the most powerful way to calm the brain is to stimulate it. If this helped you see ADHD in a new light, don't keep it to yourself, share it. Drop a comment if you or someone you know has experienced the paradox firsthand. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.